My name is Ian Spencer and I'm a furniture maker. I'm a sole trader, so it's not a company, it's just me. And I'm a trained cabinet maker, started out as a carpenter, but for the last 20 years or so I've been making one-off pieces of furniture which sell through a gallery in New York. Before I bought the Houfek, I had a double drum sander, which was a cheap Chinese machine, which was good enough, but actually it wasn't really good enough. It was always burning the wood. It didn't have any variation on it. It was slow, it was difficult, it was very unreliable and lacking in accuracy. And whereas the Houfek pony that I have it's just an absolute joy. It's only a single belt, it's a relatively small machine, and what's nice about it is that although it's much bigger than my old machine, it's small enough to fit into my small workshop space. And it was affordable enough for me to be able to do it as a sole trader. You know, I had to save up a bit and spread payments, but it was a good affordable price. Dalton helped me out a great deal because I didn't know about the existence of this machine. I'd been looking for relatively small wide belt sander for 20 years. So as soon as I saw its dimensions and its specifications, I was like, yeah, this is the machine that I've been waiting for 20 years. And the guys at Dalton were really helpful about it. You know, it was nice because I felt like I was speaking to a human being as opposed to a big multinational conglomerate where I'm filling in forms. It's like, I spoke to a bloke and he said, this machine's good, come and see it. So I took a look at it and I was able to look at the build quality and then I could look in detail on the website at the specifications. And I could see that it was the right machine for me. The thing I use it for most of all is getting fine finish on pieces of wood. When I put pieces of wood through a thickness planer, sometimes you get breakout. You know, I'm using timbers like oak or sycamore or cedar of Lebanon, which can often have grain that's going all over the place. And you take it out of the thickness planer, and you'll have breakout, or the thickness planer might leave a few marks on it, that kind of thing. Putting it through the thickness sander means that I can get it exact. You know, I can put a pair of calipers on there, and the readout on the machine is down to 0.1 of a millimeter. And testing with calipers, it's accurate to 0.1 of a millimeter, which is a joy, an absolute joy. I was looking for a wide belt sander. I didn't need something that's too wide, you know, 650 mil, 630 mil, that sort of width. And I wanted a machine that didn't take up too much space in the workshop because some of these wide belt sanders, they're big machines. I'd been looking at a lot of second-hand machines which were very affordable, but then I really didn't think that they were quite what I was after. You know, I could spend £2,000 on a huge machine that's 20 or 30 years old and have a lot of problems with it. And I just didn't want to take that kind of risk. And the Houfek was affordable. I've been using Wadkins machines for 20 years, and the machines that I was using were from 1967. I mean, there's a hell of a reputation there. And when I saw that Wadkins had been incorporated and it was now Dalton's Wadkin, I was like, okay, that's great. I just made a phone call to Dalton's Wadkins and I spoke to a person and he explained the situation for me, explained the background of the company and said, you know, you can come up here, look at our showroom. And that was just a joy. Looking at the Dalton's Wadkin show, it's like, you know, it's like a toy shop for big grown-up children like me. So I spoke to them and they gave me a price and we negotiated exactly what I needed, specifications I needed for the machine, how much delivery was going to cost. It was very easy, very straightforward, no problems at all, just a great experience. I think the Houfek does offer good value for money, definitely, yes. As I said, it's not a cheap machine, but I'm not interested in a cheap machine because I've had them and they don't make long-term sense. Cost effective, it's definitely cost effective. For me, even though I'm a small workshop, what I do with is I make very high-end pieces of furniture, which I don't want to have, you know, I don't want to spend 10 hours sanding out something where the machine hasn't quite been good enough. And this machine means I get out of it a piece of wood that's ready to go, that's absolutely perfect. And so it's definitely cost effective, no question of that. And yeah, it's a pleasure to use such a nice machine. Actually, surprisingly enough, I don't even need to wear ear defenders with it. You know, it's quiet enough to mean that's okay, which is very nice. Working with Dalton's Wadkin has been really joyous compared to a lot of the, you know, sort of industrial relationships that you have. I really felt like I was speaking to humans. And when I made inquiries about the machine, I got emails straight away after a phone call, emails straight away giving specifications. And it was easy to talk about how I was going to make payments, and then when it came to the day of installing, they arrived promptly, and it was all done beautifully, and they were very helpful, and also very helpful in telling me in advance what I needed to do, get the electrics right, and were able to give me the specifications for that, and so that was good. So I got an electrician in prior to them turning up, so everything was ready to go. And on the day, the guy who was doing the installation was just brilliantly helpful and so human. That's really nice. I think that's very important for me.